Hey YouTube, the government wants your guns. No, seriously, the government does want your guns. The Democrats really want your guns. The Republicans have to support the Second Amendment or they won't get elected. But I'm not convinced they're all completely sincere. Completely sincere, that's pretty funny. I don't think I used the right word there. Because the only thing any of them are completely sincere about is that they all sincerely want all the power they can get. That's all. The only thing they're sincere about. When I first started working on this video, a friend of mine said, "You must really like your guns." I said, "Yeah, I like my guns, but I love my freedom." And that's what this is all about, freedom. But back to the Democrats, though. Now, they'll tell you they just want common sense gun laws. No, they want your guns. They've been trying to chip away at our Second Amendment rights forever. And so far, the NRA has been pretty successful at preventing that, you know, for the most part. They're getting bolder now, though. They often refer to the Australian model, gun confiscation, as common sense gun law. The Australian model did virtually nothing to curb violence. And if anybody wants to debate that, I am available. Have you ever noticed how a gun control advocate, when they talk about the benefits, they always talk about curbing gun violence. Not violence, gun violence. Like making the gun go away is going to make the violence go away. That's so stupid. Either that or they don't care about the other violence. I'm not sure. Gun violence may be the only thing that counts in their mind. There's a lot of ways to murder somebody, especially if the murderer knows that the victim doesn't have a gun. Outlawing guns would reduce one very small segment of gun violence, though. It would virtually eliminate gun deaths of criminals killed while attempting to victimize law-abiding citizens. That would go away. Of course, that body count would be more than made up for by criminals emboldened by the knowledge that their victims are unarmed. The idea behind gun control is that it would make us safer because it would be harder for criminals to get guns. The notion that outlawing guns would disarm criminals is absurd. No intellectually honest person, intellectually honest, with an IQ over 70, can possibly believe that. And I mean that. But what about the mass murders that plague our society? The media, which is much a tool of the left as Antifa, wants us to believe that some deranged mass murderer would give up just because they can't go down to the local store and legally buy a gun. Now, I'm pretty sure that no matter how crazy a person is, committing mass murder is going to be a pretty big life event. They're going to be willing to go through a little trouble. So even if it's less convenient, I'm pretty sure Mr. Mass Murderer would go to the trouble of getting a black market gun to commit their mass murder with. None of that's new, though. Everything I've said so far has just been stuff that's been apparent forever. But now, here's the thing, and it's important. The people who want your guns know that too. Let me say that again. The people who want your guns completely understand everything I've just talked about. They're not stupid. At least the people at the top, they know it. The powerful people, the string pullers. They're smart and they understand all of this. Their minions, on the other hand, they don't know it. I guess they'd rather be called rank and file Democrats, but I'm not going to do that right now. The minions, well, they believe what they're told to believe. They think gun control would be the path to this peaceful paradise because that's what their progressive overlords have told them to believe. And that's what they believe. They don't think beyond what they've been told to believe. That's what makes them minions. And don't get me wrong, there's minions on both sides. I know that. But the guys at the top know. They're smart. They can add 2 and 2 together and come up with 4. Now they're going to tell us that it's 5. And then their puppets in the media is going to tell us it's 5. And then when you say, no, I'm pretty sure this is 4, see how 2 and 2 adds up to 4 here? Well, now that's hate speech, isn't it? But they know it's for. They know that gun confiscation would do nothing to reduce common crime or mass murder. So, why do they want your guns? You know, I'm not all that ideological. I try to look at both sides. But in a country with as many guns as there are in the U.S., I can't for the life of me see any valid argument that gun control up to and including gun confiscation would do anything but make ordinary citizens less safe. So, why do they want your guns? You know, the Second Amendment is not about self-defense. It's also not about hunting or sport shooting. What it is about is it's about the ability to stand against the loss of our freedoms, either from invaders or a government turned tyrannical. And don't get me wrong, I think we're a long way from needing to defend our liberty with armed resistance to our own government. But we are, headed in that direction. Our basic rights are under fire. Our freedom of speech has never been more eroded than it is now. A shocking percentage of millennials believe that hate speech should be illegal, and of course, hate speech is anything that disagrees with their worldview. If a mainstream conservative speaks at a college, Antifa is going to hold a riot. Our Second Amendment rights have been under fire for as long as I can remember. Thank God for the NRA. We really need an NRA for our other freedoms. Freedom of religion has become freedom from religion, at least freedom from Christianity. Some other religions still seem pretty well protected. And now we have protected classes of people whose rights supersede everybody else's rights. So, why do they want your guns? Okay, I'm going to make some generalizations about Europe. I know it's not all one country, and I know they all have different laws. Some of the things I say aren't going to apply to all the countries. I also know that Switzerland's the exception. They get it right. Everybody gets military training, and they get to keep their military rifle for the rest of their life. And nobody jacks with them. Even Hitler left them alone. Nobody's going to take Switzerland's freedom. Now, they may give it up to their own government, but nobody's going to take it. And we all know that in Europe they have very strict gun laws. In general, people can buy guns, but they have to jump through a lot of hoops, and it's an expensive process. And all the guns are registered. So if the government starts to worry that the people are going to come and kick them out, well, they know right where every gun's at. So it's going to be a pretty simple task to round up all the guns and gun owners. Now, if you're a liberal or progressive or whatever you people call yourselves these days, I'm sure right now you're yelling at the screen, yeah, the government is in control of all the guns and they don't live under tyranny, and probably adding something in there somewhere about some stupid redneck. So, the people in Europe are as free as they ever were, right? I don't think so. There have been people arrested for speaking out against the mass immigration that's currently overwhelming their cultures. And now they may not be rounding up and killing people, but people have been arrested for speaking a dissenting opinion. And that's a good first step. And the governments are fully in control of the guns. So you tell me, are those people free? No, they're not free. They're not even close. Okay, they can vote, but they can only hear what the government wants them to hear. That makes them really easy to control. I expect that the loss of freedom in Europe will continue to progress. Is that what progressive means? Progressive loss of individual liberty? From where I'm standing, that looks like the best definition of it. Anyway, I believe that the time will come when, at least in some of the European countries, the people will want to rise up and take back their freedom in their country. But they won't be able to, will they? The governments took care of that problem a long time ago. So, why does the government want your guns? You know, in a very real way, guns are freedom. They not only protect our freedom, but they also represent our freedom. No people whose government won't allow them to be armed can claim to be free. So, why does the government want your guns? Why do you think they want your guns? Hey, thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Or hated it. Whatever.